Hello, and welcome to the latest podcast from Thomas Martellone Genealogy Research. My name is Thomas Martellone, and I will be your host today. My podcast today is titled Check Before Clicking, Getting Ancestors for Your Tree. If you're an experienced genealogist, this podcast is probably something you're already familiar with. However, for those people who are newer to genealogy and genealogical research, it's a great reminder and will help avoid pitfalls as you begin your research. Whether you're a beginner, an intermediate, or an experienced person tracing your family history and doing genealogy research, it's pretty likely you're aware that there are many online genealogy platforms out there to find information. Two such ones are Ancestry.com and Family Search. But with a little bit of digging, you can also find lots of other places to get genealogical information on the internet. I remember when I first started researching over 35 years ago, these types of resources were not available. And therefore, you needed to do a lot more work by either digging around, traveling, reaching out to people via phone, or using what's considered snail mail today to find documents and records that would support the research you were doing. In our current digital age, you can easily find records online for many different types of genealogy events, and this is a great help for people who are researching. In my own research, I have found that I periodically get hints from Ancestry.com and other platforms where people have put information in that may not be accurate. One example is where I had a relative that reportedly lived to be 104 years old. After quite a bit of research, I found that she in fact did not live to be that old. However, many people online have documented this person and reported that she was 104 when she died in 1923. This really has led me to the point of this podcast, which I hope helps people who are newer to genealogy and genealogical research. When you're using online platforms for genealogical research or you're tracing your family history, it is really important to not just accept hints or take information and add it to your tree without questioning its validity. The information that you're finding could be the result of people who are eager to find information about their families. And as they're doing research, they get excited and they'll come across a hint or information that might be provided. And then they click and they add it to their tree. It's extremely important that when you are faced with finding information and potentially adding it to your tree, that you look at the information and you verify the source of the information. If there is no attached citation or documentation, for instance, something like a birth certificate or a death certificate or a marriage record or another document that could support that, I would strongly urge you to hesitate before you add that information to your family tree. There is nothing wrong with either keeping a digital document or even using something low-tech like a notebook where you may jot down some notes to say that you found some information, you're not sure if it's accurate, and you're going to come back to it and you'll continue to research it and verify and see if it's true. You could also reach out to the person who posted the information or shared it and ask if they could provide some sources of where they found that information. When you take information and you add it to your tree, if that information is not accurate, you could in fact be generating hints for other people who are also researching the same information. And you could, in fact, be generating hints that are actually not correct. There could be another whole podcast on that, and that's related to genealogy research standards and methodology. But at least for beginner researchers, it should be noted that, yes, there are many great resources out there to find information. And yes, there is a lot of accurate information you can use for your family tree. However, you should always check before clicking on that information that you add. My hope is that for people who are new to genealogy, this short podcast will be helpful and that it might have prompted you to go back and look at some of the information that you've accepted via a hint or you found online, and that the podcast gets you thinking about verifying information before you add it to your tree. At the end of the day, everybody really wants their family tree to be accurate, and you certainly want to make sure that when you're sharing with people, that they're confident that the information that you have found is accurate and that it really represents the family history you've been researching. If you have questions about research, you can always reach out to me at thomas@tmartellonegenealogyresearch.com. I'm happy to engage in a conversation or answer questions or be a sounding board for genealogy finds that you may have come across. And maybe you're questioning the validity or the sources that were cited, and you want to double check them or have a sounding board before you add them to your family tree. I wish you good luck with your research, and I look forward to interacting with you via one of our next upcoming episodes from Thomas Bartolone Genealogy Research. Good luck with your research and have a great day.